Yeah, let's go for it. Welcome back, guys. My name is Harrison. Joined with Gerald today. We are back for the first streaming event, or the first tournament action of Age of Empires 3 Definitive Edition. Very, very exciting to see. We have Lucas L99 spawning into the northwest of the map, playing as the Incans in the color green. His opponent, Conquerer97, playing as the French, spawning into the southeast of the map in the color teal. Lucas versus Conqueror. The fourth matchup today so far, the Little Lieutenant Colonels are currently leading the entire tournament 2-1. So it's all on the tables at the moment. It's not a runaway team tourney. So this series matters as much as all the other series. I was saying just before this series started that Lucas, he's had a bit of a tough time recently in competitive playstyles. After defeating Hazza 4-1, he has lost every high-level series afterwards, really. I mean, he's gone far in the Stay-at-Home Cup, but losing to Kaiser, Soldier, Maito, I'm Turk in the EPL2, and then losing to Neutral Bear 4-3 in the round of 8 in the Stay-at-Home Cup. And we've got to say, that's actually a good performance from Lucas, because Neutral Bear is top 2, top 3 at the moment. And I think Lucas is looking to prove himself and get his name out there in the Definitive Edition as a top player. Conqueror, though, playing a lot of matches. I've really been enjoying Conqueror. I've been watching him stream. He played on the opening day invitational. And I think Conqueror defeated Giving Anxiety, went to the final there. So both players have played quite a lot recently. And we'll have to see how these two players adapt to the Definitive Edition. And we see Lucas starting the game off with Incas. What are the new civilizations out there?
Yeah, Inca's very strong. I really liked a little bit of a nuance, but he started the treasure and then used his ability after it was started, and it's an area of damage. So it actually did like half damage to the other Guardian, and it's a really nice little trick that you can do with Inca. Not every player is aware of it, but it's a nice little trick. Definitely saves some HP. The War Chief is pretty nice. Something on RE that is different is that on RE you can convert Guardians with the War Chief civilizations, their heroes, but the Inca and all of them actually, you can't convert the animals anymore. You can only convert the actual human guardian. So he did a really good job. Nice micro there, and we see that Conquer is focusing the War Chief of Inca right now. So it is looking good. He is moving around the map. He is scouting. Look at the fog of war and see what Conquer has scouted. He scouted a whole lot more. That's the scout of France just doing a lot. It's a really nice bonus that they have. And we see that Conquer is actually doing a lot in taking this Lucas's War Chief down in HP.
So, as we've seen so far, looks like Conqueror's going to go for a 13 CDB aging up with 1 CDB earlier. But with these fixed crate starts, the 13 CDB has become the new norm. Gerald, we do see that our Little Lieutenant Colonel and GRJ logos are upside down at the moment. Conqueror is fighting for the LLC, Lucas fighting for the GRJs. That doesn't matter too much. Also, we did see Lucas himself sending the Llama cast, Infinite Llama in Age 1. And Gerald, I've seen you stream Incas and send Llamas. What is the build order you think that Lucas is going for here?
I think this was a little bit more of a previous patch build order. Although he did get the wood, which really helped out a lot. Without that wood, I don't think it would have been able to get another Concha house out. So what you do is you you gather a bunch of wood early on. You build 4, well, typically 3, but in this case 4 Concha houses, and then you send 2 fat llamas, and that is 800 resources that you can gather. And they're completely fattened. You gather them up quickly, and you age up super fast. So we'll take a look at the age up times. It is Conquer at just a little bit ahead. Not terrible. He's what is that? Probably 20 seconds ahead or so, maybe 15 seconds ahead of Lucas. But Lucas has his 5th Concha house going up now. So it is each Concha house currently gathers at a rate of 0.5 food per second. If you have a villager on a hunt, it is 0.84. So It's pretty valuable. This is roughly, with the 6th going up, that might be 4 villagers or so. So it's a definitely nice little thing he has going on there. We'll look at Conqueror and see what he's doing. He's got a market and a house. He does have gang saw coming in, so that tells me probably crossbows would be my guess. I mean, why else would you be going gang saw this early, right?
Well, look at the amount of wood that Conqueror has already acquired. 292 wood, even before the 400 cords have come in. His Explorer, though, is away from the training post, so I'm not thinking total TP line control and going for a 3 TP stagecoach versus a very defensive Turtle and Inca. In-base barracks coming down. I was thinking as well, I was about to say, let's see where Conqueror's dropping that forward base. Is he going to be going aggressive against the Turtle Civ? But he's not. He's actually sort of sit back, play really, I wouldn't say defensive. He's going for a couple pikemen first, but
yeah.
Inca, they have all their buildings at home. It's not like you're playing Sweden or Japan here.
Right, yeah. Like, all of these buildings, well, maybe not this next one coming up, but all of the other buildings are definitely defended by the TC. And the War Hut coming up now should, well, maybe that can be sieged down. That's actually pretty close. But double War Hut age up, it looks like, from Inca, double builder travois, and you can use them to build war huts. So nice little things.
What's this card coming in?
The card, it is a card that does double. It makes your concha houses, their trickle twice as good. So it's all going to be 1 food per second for all of these concha houses. That is 8 concha houses, so it's effectively 4 more food per second. So that's pretty big.
Inca knowledge for me is a little to be desired for. It's just interesting to see these new cards, new strategies coming out. So very defensive play, massing a lot of these economic buildings, getting that food trickle buff, playing out very similar to Enzelberg Ironworks as the Swedish player. But pikemen coming out from the French player, are these buildings defensively in range of an outpost of the war hut? Because this is Siberia, you do have that extra outpost, so defensive play is probably strong, but we have pikemen engaging snow leopards here.
Yeah.
Not often you see pikemen used to take down treasure guardians.
No, not very often, no. And he did take it with his explorers. Explorers fairly low HP now, 13 HP in fact. But we do, I think possibly this, wait, we can look at the range. Wait, can we look at the range? Yeah, we can look at the range. I think it might be able to siege. It's super, super close there. We do have a little bit of engagement right now, though. It is some Puma Spearmen and some Jungle Bowmen versus Crossbowmen and Pikemen. Taking a look at the units and what they cost, it's 100 food, 20 wood for the Plume Spearmen, and 90 food, 20 wood for the Jungle Bowmen. So, very food heavy. However, their stats, let's see, 15 attack, 16 range. Compared to the Crossbowmen, it is 16 range, 16 attack. The crossbow also have a little bit more HP, so I'd say that's a little bit better for the crossbows all in all in that, you know, more cost efficient, if you will. The Plume Spearman, pretty decent unit though. If we go back to he has a single pikeman left. All right, so 120 HP, 8 attack compared to the 170 HP, 13 attack. So the Plume Spearmen, I think, are a little bit more cost efficient. But certainly more pop efficient. Yeah,
so we do have a couple of these spearmen and bowmen out from the field from England, but I think by now Lucas could have already had the 3 TP stagecoach fully under his control. And I noted that last time I saw Conqueror Zico, he did have a bit of wood stacked up remaining, which he's now put into pikemen crossbows. I think it's fair to say that the early batch of pikemen haven't really paid off. The reinforcing crossbows have, but if that was just 15 crossbows moving into raid villages, that could have worked really well. But just the early pikemen haven't seemed to pay off, and this somewhat aggressive play from barracks and stables at home is it's just confusing to me. That's all it is. It's just slightly confusing.
Yeah, one thing that's really, really interesting about Inca, they are a little bit similar to Aztec, but one thing that's really interesting about Inca is their cavalry, if you will, their Chimu runners, their shock infantry, do not snare opponents. Not until you send a card in Age 4, at least. So they do not snare opponents, so the skirmisher type units, the ranged infantry, actually do pretty well versus them. It's a lot easier to kite, certainly. They're not snared. You can move back. The Chibu runners are fairly strong, so their attack and HP is pretty good for their cost. But yeah, it's an interesting thing. I'm curious if the lack of snaring is going to be utilized by Conquer. And we see that one Conja house does go down just now. Pretty large army from Lucas coming up here. We'll see if he's going to be able to get on top of them. He is not able to snare with the Chimu runners, so this army should just be able to run away.
Well, let's see if actually Conquer wants to fight this. I think because he's only got a handful of pikes. Once those pikes go down from the jungle bowman, actually, it feels like his crossbows are somewhat just exposed just to the large mass of units that Lucas has, as well as the three type competition that he has at disposal: Chimu runners, spearmen, and the bowman available. And Conqueror's backing off. Let's look at Conqueror's tab. Is he going to continue in age 2, or is he aging up to the third age behind this?
He is aging at 3.
700 coin.
Yeah, he's aging the 3 right now. He's about a third of the way there, so he's going to just try to hold on, defend a little bit based on the score. It's actually very, very close right now. Conqueror's up just about 600 scores, and he is going to hit age 3. He is aging up with the Exiled Prince, so that's the fast age up, correct?
Exiled Prince, yes, it's the fast age up. Usually used by most civs in most occasions. More specifically, if you have a shipment in stock, it's usually a good indication to age up fast so you can spend it as soon as possible. I'm not too sure Conqueror has a shipment in his stock at the moment, but other options for the French would likely be skirmishers, halberdiers. Either or could be better, but the fast age up means just needs fast units out on the board, and also fast to train CDBs once you get up.
Yeah, he's going skirmishers, and I'll let you pronounce that because Chad always tells me
cuirassiers, and even Inter was having some funny pronunciations in the first time, and I've done my homework on that unit. I would not start trying to pronounce New Arrow.
Yeah, one thing that I hope they fix a little bit in DE is I've noticed some villagers do have a little bit more pathfinding problems. We see this villager on the mine. It is just sitting there looking at his co-workers work and say, "Hey, you're doing a good job, man. I'll just sit here and watch." Looking over at Lucas real quick.
Right. Now we're into that kind of middle portion of the game. Do you think we should have the Fog of War off so we can get to see all the both players on the menu as they move their armies around?
Yeah, we can do that for sure. We do see that Lucas is not looking to age up anytime soon. He's making full use of this 600 wood, infinite 600 wood. I've already seen him send it at least one other time, perhaps more than that. But he's actually, I think he's only sent 2 fat llamas, Chicha Brewing, and 600 wood, and that's all he's sent so far. He just keeps on sending the 600 wood. To be fair, I mean, that's a pretty decent shipment, but it's a little bit surprising to be sending only that the whole time.
But it makes sense, though, doesn't it? If you send units, well, most units cost food, but scrap that. We have an engagement here. Heavy cavalry wanting to engage, but pulling back away from the bowman. Not the bowman, the spearman, pardon me. They see that Lucas has just got so much stuff here. This Incan Eco, unchecked by Conquer, really, and quite a lot of these bowman skirmishers. They're perfect units to do versus the spearmen, but the Chinchu runners on top of the skirmishers, and Conqueror's running back. Does he have Falcon S&Q? Because that's what exactly he needs now to stabilize.
He does not have Falcon S&Q. He just has some skirmishers and Cuirassier. And yeah, Lucas has Plume Spearmen, Chimu Runners, and some Jungle Bowmen. And the Plume Spearmen with the Chimu Runners is a really, really nice thing because the Plume Spearmen, they do snare. So it basically allows your Chimu runners to stay on top of the opponent and do a really, really good job. So instead of just going 2 units, he goes all 3, and he does a really, really good job of destroying the whole army of Conquer. And, I mean, if I'm not wrong, it looks like this might almost be GG at this point. I mean, the whole army's gone. He's age 3. He's got a couple of units in queue, but he's got no coin left. He's got no villagers gathering. He has a couple of villagers on food, but none on coin. And
the only thing Lucas has got to be careful now is, does he have enough units to support his bowmen? i.e. those pikemen. I'm seeing from Conqueror a 3 Cuirassier shipment may pop out of either the town centre or that outpost. Minutemen have already been called, but if there's no anti-cavalry units here, Cuirassiers, they do a lot of damage and they do a lot of work, and they come out now from the outpost and they're already working on with enough Incan units working down. Actually, this is the time where the poison damage from the archers could actually really pay real dividends here.
Yeah.
And I think Lucas just has enough here.
Yeah, poison damage, it deals damage over time, slow trickle damage over time. He definitely needs some more Plume Spearmen now to kind of defend this. And he is going by the barracks. Some skirmishers are going to pop out, and they are going to get some nice shots. The Jungle Bellmen are going to focus them, though, and that TC is also doing some nice work. He did pop out the CDB in the middle of that fight and really soaked up some nice damage. And it's Conqueror's definitely on the back foot here. And there's a bunch more Plume Spearmen coming in. That is 10 Plume Spearmen. They are pretty comparable to, say, like a Puma or they're really, really good pikemen. So here they come in, and they're going to actually do a lot of damage here. So really good siege on them. They have 44 siege. And this is going to be hard for Conqueror to deal with. He has a shipment of 7 skirmishers coming in. He's got some more skirmishers queued up. So I think this is looking pretty good for him. Those skirmishers are canceled, and it's looking really good for Lucas. I'm curious what Conqueror could do. I'm going to take a look at his deck really quick to see what he has left to send. He has 5 goons, 2 falconets, Swiss pikemen, but he's not going to send that at this point.
Yeah, so the problem with the goons is that there's no real cavalry from Lucas, but that does give Conqueror mobility. Can't send falconets because he hasn't got any units to block them. All the CDB are in the town centre, bailed up. I'm not too sure he has blunderbusters and greatcoats researched. They're not really effective fighters, and don't really want to be fighting CDBs anyway. Here come the skirmisher shipmen, probably going to be doing a bit of kiting action with these units, but the fact that he still has 13 villagers bailed up in the town centre, not gathering, it's just crippling Conqueror's eco, and now Conqueror won't have a shipment for another minute. Until he sends it, in another 30 seconds so it comes out, and this is all he's got to play with. And Lucas' eco is still booming away, untouched. He's sending more units in, picking off reinforcements where he can. He's just picking off houses at the moment, and he's playing this really smart. He could back out now and still be in a great position, but he sees these skirmishers, got those chimney runners right on top of it now. Spearmen focusing down a reinforcing barracks. Conqueror has no more production, and the only thing he really sees he sends to get out is maybe a falconet and a CDB pool. But it's just looking pretty tight. A couple CDBs already built up in the outpost as well. Doesn't buff outpost attack. I assume he's got 10 vills in the town centre all this time. Yeah,
well, 12 at the moment. He did have 10 earlier, trying to use his other villagers to gather some berry bush, build a barracks. One thing that perhaps Conqueror wasn't aware of is that the Chimu runners are not snared. It looked like he was trying to snare him with his Explorer. I'm curious if that's just oversight or just probably more instinct than anything else. Did have 1 barracks coming out, but that is Lucas taking game number 1. So you're talking about how Lucas was perhaps not going to maybe show up quite as well as is expected, but he takes it game number 1, and that is 1-0 over to Lucas right now.
Oh, jailed, you little minx. That was the opposite of what I said. I said that Lucas wants to go out and with a strong performance to show that he's better than his past results.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
Jailed putting words into my mouth saying that Lucas is going to fall off and burn here. I never said that.
No. I was saying that she's showing up better than what his past performances has shown, and he does really well. Takes game number 1. We'll see what happens with game number 2. Going to go to the overlay real quick for you guys. We'll see what the previous.
No, but Gerald, you're casting with Harrison, and I have to see that post game.
All right, I'll show you the post game. All right, post game here. We've got
very briefly, we can skip through it.
Yeah, all good. So enemies killed is actually very, very close. The units from Conquer early on, the crossbow and pikemen, not as pop efficient, at least overall, as Lucas's, but he does end up killing more units. That's partly due to the TC fire and Lucas being able to gather more resources, pump out more units, TC firing on them more. But we'll look at combat XP. It's actually very close there, 1248 to 1266. Look at the villagers. Let's look at the resources gathered. I'm really curious about that.
Yeah, so I'm really curious about the resources mainly because we saw Incan do a very boomy playstyle, and he got a lot of food but sent to the woods as crates. So may not have the same amount of resources as French, but the way he spent them was slightly more efficient.
Yeah.
And after the pressure comes in, Conqueror's eco flatlines, and the Incan pressure just continues and continues. And who says that Incan is a poor 1v1 Civ? Looks like Lucas has figured them out, and maybe the playstyle is not full pikes into an Incan defensive playstyle.
Yeah, we also, since we're on the topic of Inca and their 1v1 potential, you do have a big button from the Stronghold in H3 that will give you 4 light cannons. So one of their complaints has been they don't have a good answer to cannons from European civs. However, 4 light cannons in H3, it's expensive to get there, different things like that. It doesn't cost a shipment per se to do it, but 4 light cannons is pretty potent. So, we see the resources gathered there. We'll look at the villager population. It may actually be pretty close all in all, even though,
Well, yeah, the villager population here, it's a little iffy because Lucas, they don't have a villager shipment, but they have those Concha houses behind powering their eco through it. You just see once that pressure came in, Conqueror did lose a couple of villagers. Now, if you manage to save those villagers and then pop them out with maybe a falconet shipment instead of the 7 skirms, if you still had the army, that could be in a way he could have overcome that infantry board, but the game was pretty much over by that point anyway. So, I'm a very satisfied co-caster here. I've seen all the analytics I need to see. Let's crack on to the next one.
As long as you're satisfied, Harrison, that's all that matters.
I'm just satisfied with any Age of Empires content from ESOC TV. I've really been enjoying this afternoon. I've been doing a bit of work on the side, but I've been enjoying it. We've had a request to turn me down slightly, maybe about 15%, 20% on the Discord volume, and also we've had a request for, once the big action kicks off, just to zoom in, just to see those French military units get picked off a little bit more of a zoomed in. But so you know how DE has a massive, zoom out?
I think that's
more zoomed in other games. I think we could go a little bit more in depth, but maybe not an interjection up and close and personal.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm feeling we could do a bit of both.
Yeah, a little bit like halfway. For me, I guess I'm just used to it, and I see it all. But I will try to zoom in a little bit more, especially in the middle of the battles. There's some really, really nice opportunities to really see the wonderful graphics that DE has come up with. And we are getting into the next game here. It is game number 2, Conqueror versus Lucas. And we'll see the matchup in just a second here. It is Japan versus India. So one thing really important to point out before everyone in chat that is keeping up with the times, India has a fairly broken card right now. The Gurkha card in H3 that gives them, is supposed to give them plus ×1 versus heavy infantry. That card is banned for the tournament. They're not allowed to use that. So for anyone curious, that is off the table, and we're getting into it. Game number 2 here. We saw that I gotta change the score here. They swapped who was hosting. 1 second here, and we getting this ready. All right, so Japan versus India. This is not a matchup I've seen a whole lot. What do you think of it? What do you think the advantages are for both civs?
Oh, I'm glad you asked. So I believe how the rules have been working out, Lucas won that first game, so he decided to pick his civ into Grand Chaco, quite a wide open map. Lots of hunts out and about. No trading posts as well. There is livestock available. A couple llamas. So there's 4 llamas around each pond in a 1v1 spawn. So I think Lucas, in his situation, is looking for this kind of defensive playstyle. Shrines out on the map. Go for that eco advantage. Conqueror went for the counter pick of India here. And India into Japan, for me, that screams I want to go for an aggro fort right in the middle of the map. I want to get a couple of units out and try and really put pressure. I have the Gardner Hussars, I have the Sours, I have Sepoys, and Japan, they do struggle with basically early pressure, and that is a one-player style versus them. Otherwise, Conqueror could go to the Fortress Age as a semi-FF and think about having units like the Siege Elephants, the Urumi, maybe going for disciplined Gurkhas, not broken Gurkhas, but just regular disciplined Gurkhas, and kind of utilize a kind of auxiliary unit composition, the Urumi Mahout Lancers, just crush in on those tightly packed infantry formations of Japan. But I think the game will just be decided, or not decided, but we'll have to see what that first Age Wonder will be from Conqueror and where he's going to put it.
Yeah, for sure. India has a few options, but Japan is really, really good at booming. So it's really on the pressure of Conqueror to really dictate the pace of the game and really make Lucas react to him. So we'll see how he does that. You could, like you were mentioning, have a really good Age 3 timing push. Could push really hard with the Agra and keeping control of the map. If you keep the Japan player from shrining most of the map, then your work is done. Their boom is pretty lackluster at that point. So we'll see what they go with. We'll take a look at the decks real quick. We see Heavenly Kami for Japan, first card coming in. He's got several shipments. He's even got 3 Samurai in Age 2. Anything stand out to you about that deck, Harrison?
Well, the Samurai card.
Right.
That's the first thing screaming out to me is not normal. Mill card instead of any other options in Age 1, like the 2-vil, 300 wood. I think Zuta will be turning in his bed tonight if I told him that this Japan player here, who was idled at 10 out of 10 population and was housed quite a long time, actually.
Yeah.
Only 1 monk builds in that shrine and was probably missed maybe 60%, 80% of a full villager there. It was actually a significant amount of time.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I noticed that too. We do see a contest of treasures here, 100 XP, and we see that Conqueror actually takes it. So really, really nice pickup from him. He does lose a monk in the process. And Indian monk versus Japanese monk. I'm not sure who wins that. They're both really weak, and usually they just lose to almost all others. But yeah.
Usually we always like to talk about the clash of the titans, but this is just a clash of the flip-flops. Who's worse than the other?
Yeah, especially Age 1.
I think it's important. I think it's important though that with 1 explorer out of action for Conqueror, he can't heal up in between the ages. His treasure taking potential is significantly weakened.
Yeah.
Lucas has 2 explorers. He can split them up and he can shrine the sides of the map either side quite comfortably without risk of being essentially just worked on by both the explorers.
Yeah, well, take a look at the Fog of War real quick for Lucas here. He's got almost the whole map scouted. Looking over at Conquer, a whole lot less of the map is scouted, and he only has 1 monk right now. So that's going to be really hard for him to know where all the shrines are. We'll take a look at Lucas's point of view and see how much more he has. It's actually really only 1 more shrine basically that he scouted, but seeing the map and knowing where all the hunts are and everything is really, really important in Japan. He did an excellent job of that. He is aging to Age 2 right now. Conquer is also wait.
So I've seen a couple positions between both Conquer and Lucas. Conquer is forward aggro in the middle of the map, but why is Lucas building a shrine right next to the aggro fort, or right in the middle of the map? This is Japan 101. Open the book, split your explorers up to the edges of the map, opposite sides of the map, so we can see there's a hunt at the 3 o'clock position and there's a hunt at the 9 o'clock position. That's where you want your explorers, and because the Indian army can't be at 2 places at once, that early shrine will get picked off from the first batch of Seaboys.
Yeah, we just see the Chishugo Shrine being the first wonder going up by Lucas. The Agra Fort for Conqueror, on the other hand, it is pretty aggressive. I really like the position. It is between both pawns, so that's going to really enable him to control not only just the area around the Agra, but almost in a way, all the way out to here. If Lucas wants to put pressure anywhere, he's going to have to go around either of the pawns to do so safely. So I really, really like the aggro position. It's the perfect aggro position on this map, in my opinion. We'll take a look over at India's deck real quick while he's aging up. He's got his camel cards, really important to note. He's got both of them. You don't necessarily always use both. This second one, it gives you some multipliers, but it also gives some negative multipliers to the units you're not supposed to do quite as well against. For instance, the Soar versus heavy infantry is not quite as strong as if he didn't send that. Looking over at the rest of his shipments, what stands out to you on this?
1,000 foods in the 3rd age. He's also gone for a deck with good faith agreements on a non-TP map. This might be just a generic deck that he's been using, but there was no real chance he was sending out this game. 10 cards in age 2 is pretty standard for India if it just gives you options if you have to stay that age, but I don't think Colonial Sours and Zambraks is what you really want versus Japan carded Ashigarus and Yumi Archers. And I'm sure if it's the same balance patch as EP9, Yumi Archers, 20% attack buff from that card, and it's just very strong units.
One thing,
Sours, low HP.
Yeah, one thing I really noticed is he doesn't really have any H4 cards outside of the 9 Yurimi, which is an excellent shipment in and of itself. So it's, I mean, you can send that. It's an infinite card. You can send it over and over. But he doesn't have, it's not looking like he's going to be going to H4 really quickly. We do see quick aggression out from Conquer, getting some Sepoy out, taking out a Shrine. And he has a couple Sepoy already on this other Shrine. We'll turn the Fog of War off for you guys. We see that there's a couple Shrines up, but Lucas has been opting to go back a little bit and put the Shrines up kind of on his side of the map. And Conquer pretty much controls his whole side of the map himself already. So good stuff from him. He's trying to keep the Shrine count low. He has, we'll go back to Conquer real quick. And he has some Gurkha in queue now after having the support. He also has an Idle TC. Not ideal. He has Consulate going up though. He's sending 300 export. He's pretty greedy start. He sends Distributivism, sends Foreign Logging, and then Diplomatic Intrigue for a really, really greedy start. It's basically a 3 villager shipment, 5 villager shipment, and another 5 villager shipment. And as soon as this Consulate is up, he should be going to Ottomans and getting 4 villagers out of there. Taking a look at the rest of it, we'll take a look at Lucas real quick and see. He's got some Yumi. And that's all he's got so far, just sitting back a little bit with them.
Yeah, interesting to see the Indian player going for the wood trickle into the exports. I think that's just been one of the standard builds now for a player who's not going on the full aggression here. You can see even that batch of Gurkhas he trained only got 3 Gurkhas out instead of a full batch of 5. So 4 Sepoys, 3 Gurkhas is the units being trained. India, they do have their crate shipment buffed to 700 wood, 700 coin from 600 apiece. Japan now is sending his own at 600 wood at this point, but 140 shrine pop. But more importantly, the fifth resource actually, because export is a thing, but nobody talks about enough is time. Time or pressure, both basically deviates to the same results. And the Japan player here has time. All the villagers are working. He's had no TCR time, no time the village has been built up idle, and all these units been trained from India just to knock down a few shrines where the Japan monk, look at that Japan monk at that 8 o'clock position, just sneaking around the side of the map and dropping a shrine on that 9 o'clock position behind those 2 Sepoys. The Sepoys think they've done their mission, they're going to move down into the base, but actually Lucas is just dropping a shrine behind them. What a smart play.
Yeah, and what's really important to note about is he has not scouted that little area right there. That's right where the shrine is going up, so he's not going to see it. That's one of the aspects of scouting the map really well. He obviously lost a monk. I mean, not entirely his fault per se, but really good on Lucas to take out that monk. But yeah, it's going to... The shrine going up here is really, really big. 2 of them, in fact. And that's going to be pretty safe. I don't think Conquer is going to expect them to be there the rest of the game.
So Lucas, playing as Japan, has got a lot of Yumi Archers out at the moment. Just got to be careful that there is the potential for Osman Hussars or a Sour shipment or a stable being thrown down into regular Sour production. So there's his 5 Ashigaras now as his anti-cavalry. He's gone pure Bestiaires Yumi, and that's enough to defend his shrines and just buy more time as his eco continues to grow. I did see a 4 villager shipments sent at some point from Japan, so maybe that was the heavily cami, 600 wood, 4 vil. He's sent 600 wood again as a second time. I think maybe it's card number 4 in this game for more Yumi Archer production and more shrines. And now sending the coin, looking to age up behind this with a very respectable eco at the moment. 150 shrine pop, and actually picked off quite a few Indian units as well.
Yeah, he has the Teshuga Shrine, so he has 13 shrines on the map right now. This will be a 14th, 15th going up there. We do see the Sepoy coming back, but those Ashi should be able to chase them down there a little bit faster. 4.5 speed compared to 4 speed, and it takes out one of them there. Some more shrines going up. What were you going to say?
Ashy just seems such a standard unit now since the Karelians have been introduced. 4.5 speed. Oh, they're so slow. Like, get on the Swedish level.
Yeah, seriously, 5.25 speed, man. Come on, get up there. All right, let's take a look at the Fog of War real quick. We do see it's not a very large mass out from India, but that's because he's aging up right now with the Sharmanagh Gate. And let's see what options he may send in age 3. He does have a 7 Urumi, really good shipment. He can also send some Mahout, some additional crate shipments he could send. We'll see what he goes with. Go ahead.
I've just seen Imperial Bureaucracy just being completed here from a Conqueror now, so a relatively late Imperial Bureaucracy if you're going for some sort of fortress playstyle. You can also always do a semi-FF and jump to the 3rd age about 8 minutes, so this is more of an eco approach to it, but he didn't go for the really early techs out. I suppose he did go for the 4 villagers from the Ottoman consulate, so we don't see the Ottoman Hussars at any point. Minutemen being called from the Indian town centre just to push back these Ashy Garus. And Conquerors in the 3rd age, there's a Mahout on the floor somewhere, but there's Ashies at home still buying time. Where is that Mahout?
Yeah, the Mahout's out on the Agra. That's where it was shipped. And I'm liking Luca's position a lot right here. He has the better eco, a better score, the bigger military mass also, I believe. It's of course he's currently age 2. He's aging up a little bit slower. We also saw some Ashy coming in from the side. I'm not sure they got a villager. Can take a look at those nice graphics for you guys.
Just imagine if there's a units lost tab, like that would be so useful. That saved me so many times. Like, oh, did I miss that raid? Let's see how he went down. Oh, there you go, guys. Only 2 vills went down there. So I think from this position, I like Lucas' position as well. Lucas is also aging up behind, likely the Golden Pavilion, training a Naginata right now, maybe get 2 or 3 out. But from many experience as playing against a player playing as India, it's very easy for it to go very, very wrong very, very quickly when India has those power shipments of 3 Mahouts, 7 Urumi, 2 Mahouts, those shipments which cost food, easy to get the resources to send, but once they come out, they're just so strong, and it's the combination of units as well for India. Sometimes it's quite hard to macro against. Oh, my army's snared, and Urumi are now on the Ashes. Oh, GG.
Yeah, we do see Shrine, the Shrine game from Japan is on point, and he does have all of his shrines out, so really well done from him. He ages up with the Golden Pavilion, and what that tells you is that he's definitely wanting to do some fighting in Age 3, or expecting some fighting in Age 3. We do see that he has some more Yumi in queue, some Naginata, so that's just the Naginata is gonna ensure that the Gurkha aren't, too big of a mass, make sure to keep Conquer honest. Only 1 Mahout out from Conquer. I'm not sure he has enough of an answer to the huge Yumi mass. To be fair, I'm not entirely sure that Conquer knows how many Yumis and Bestiros that Lucas has. So he's definitely going to need to do something to deal with this. We'll take a look over at Conqueror's shipments and see where he's going. He's going more Sepoy. So Sepoy against Yumi, not the ideal unit, that's for sure.
The other thing Conqueror doesn't know just yet, but could anticipate if he's really thought about the build order and how Japan is, and that is one of the best skills to have, is game knowledge of not what you're doing, but where your opponent is and what they're doing. Lucas is just aged to the 3rd age just to send 2 cherry orchards. Hooray! Japan have to send their 2 cherry orchards, and that is the window. Conqueror could be in there, really putting the pressure on. He's waiting for that Mahout shipment. He's training Sepoys, and Sepoy Mahout's a very strong combo. Got Mahout actually, the Yumi there were a little bit, I was a bit scared then, but no, gentleman's agreement, backing off. Conqueror's waiting for his big batch of units. I think Discipline Nagis here from Lucas is what Lucas is wanting to do. He's training a lot more Naginatas. Discipline's Yumi completed, but there's Mahout shipment. I think it's go time for Conqueror. I think he wants to go because that shrine count's still looking good for Lucas, and the longer it goes, I still think it's just going to get better for Japan. It's not like India's on a 2nd TC. Okay, here's a Cav batch coming from Ottoman. This is going to be now.
Yeah, he's gotta make it happen pretty soon, I think. We see Lucas's scores just going higher and higher than Conqueror's. The gap is growing. The eco of Japan is in full swing. Let's take a look at it real quick. Still max shrines, and it's looking really good for him. It's a really large mass of anti-heavy infantry that he has. He's got some Ashigaru and a few Yamabushi up there. So I like this. Perhaps a little bit more anti-cav would be in order. But he is putting some sieging onto the Agra fort. We'll take a look at Conqueror's point of view. He does a minute popping right now, and he should be able to pressure here. Go ahead.
Oh, it's just the Japan players pushing out of his base. Like, Japan's one of those cities, like, oh, I can stay in base age to the 4th age. Just Mahout's closing in, and actually, Nagis are great at pinning down the cavalry, but they're not damage dealers. Yumi can do enough behind this, but okay, there's the clubs, and actually, I'm feeling a little bit better now. He's actually successfully pinned down the elephants, and they haven't charged through into the Yumi archers. But you see, they're trying to flank left side at the moment. Gurkha's pulling back, all under aggro fire, and Yumi shipment is being sent at the moment. If this fight still continues a little bit longer, now we're heavy infantry is in line of the Gurkha seapoint, and the anti-cavalry has gone down for Lucas. He's out in the open, exposed here. Two Mahouts still standing.
Yeah, this is looking pretty good for India, all in all. There's still about 2 Mahouts standing. Why did he not get on top of those, though? He's got the Yurumi coming in. Perhaps he was wanting Japan to push up a little bit. But the Naginata come out, and it looks like they're backing off from each other a little bit. Gurkha versus Yumi. We have Naginata and Mahout. They're both pulling back a little bit. And looks like Lucas has thought better of it and is not pushing forward. I think that's a good choice. I think, all in all, I think Conqueror came away out of that fight the victor, if you will. A little bit less losses on his side. The Minutemen did come in, a little bit of a nice boost. The fort also did a lot. So it's actually, if you look at it, the score's actually in favor of Conqueror now after that fight. We'll see if he'll be able to push in and make something happen here. Yurumi, very, very good unit. Yurumi and Mahout together can completely wipe all these Yumi if they can get on top of them. Do see some raiding Naginata on the side, but this is looking really good for Conqueror at the moment, honestly. Lucas will go over to his point of view and see if he what he has as far as shipments. He has Minutemen popping right now.
Run away! Run away! This is the time as well. Brick Consulate was researched from India, so 7% HP bonus for all the units as well. So Mahout has extra units as well. A couple of Nagis just standing close, fending away the Yumi and Mahout, but once they get onto the Yumi archers, it is just going to be brutal, I feel, for Lucas. He is defending quite nicely, though. It looks like Conqueror doesn't want to overcommit here, but actually a reinforcing batch of Nagis is what he wants on those Yumi on the opposite side, but he's just going to go into that Gurkha batch first and pull back those sepoys, and I think Lucas he's struggling, is close. There's Yumi even on top of those Yumi archers now, just absorbing all that fire. Those Nagis will go down pretty quickly, I feel.
Yeah, this fight has gone really well for Lucas. Defender's advantage is really huge.
It's now looking alright for Lucas, actually. Yeah, it's alright.
Yeah, it's looking really good. Go ahead.
He survived the Yurumi Mahout, and there you go, Japan player not using walls, but still managing to survive. A couple of wall placements here and there could have worked well. A small Naginata raid at the top side, nothing over significant. Actually, probably what's more significant is that those villagers were on coin, which they ran out.
Yeah, so he's ran out of coin. We'll go over to Conqueror real quick. He has only 1 villager on coin at the moment. It's actually several villagers going down there. I wish I had units lost so I could see how many. But I count at least 3, and they were on there. The Naginata were on there for a little while, I think. I'll see Naginata on the other side taking down a villager. So really good raids by Lucas. That could really pay off in the long run. We do see Mahout getting on top of the army here.
3 Mahout pop!
Yeah, 3 Mahout pop, but the Naginata are tanking for now. We'll see if the Yumi are good enough to take out the Mahout. I don't think it is. He needs to pull back. Lucas needs to pull back. He needs a bit of something to deal with this Mahout. He has a second one going down. Only 1 left. So if that one goes down, he should be fine. But he needs to actually take it down. This Mahout are so tanky, having a 1,164 HP. Naginata coming out now, and they should be able to clean up the rest of this. They should be able to snare the Gurkha. The Yumi, I think, should be able to do fine here. We look at the score. Lucas is up 5k at the moment, so looking really, really good for him after all of these fights and those raids. Those raids were actually huge, I think. I think that might be turning the tide even more. Conqueror is not able to pump out units in the middle of the fight as much as he'd like, and with how prolonged this fight has been, that could be the deciding factor. Really, really good stuff from Lucas. We'll see if he's able to clean this all up. And I think this might be GG, honestly.
Yeah, I think I think the GG moment has happened. So we've got very tanky cavalry units, high HP, 30% range resistance, absorbing all the Gurkha fire. Yumi archers allowed to just pick off the sepoys at will from range, and there the GG is being called. And I think what really happens there was the Japan player was able to hold on through the India power shipments of the 7 Yurumi, 2 Mahout, 3 Mahout. Once that third Mahout shipment, okay, the second shipment, but of the 3 Mahouts went down, I don't think Conqueror was sat there thinking, have I got any other way to deal with this archer mass here from Japan? Those raids was so smart as well. It's one of those, such a great way to play some of the Age of Empires games is if there is a big fight about to happen or there's action all over going on, just a couple of cav on your opponent's eco while a big fight's happening is so useful because it makes it to react from them needs so much more APM than it does for you to send the raids. And I think those 3 Naggies or the 4 Naggies in the 2x2 group must have picked up about I'm going to say 10, 11 villagers. I think it was certainly a lot.
Yeah, several villagers. And then perhaps even more important is they were making some of the villagers be idled also. He had to pull back some Sepoy just to deal with it. That is 7 Sepoy that he didn't have in the middle of the fight. And just a few more units in a fight like that was so, so close of fighting for so long can really make a big difference. So we saw that Lucas really, if anything, I would say the big deciding factor of that game was actually the raids, to be honest. Like there's a lot of it. I mean, the shrining, being able to get max shrines at that point was really nice, but really well done by Lucas to get those raids in and really finish it off with that. I think that was
Lucas 2-0. The first tournament series he's playing in DE, 2-0 clean sweep, GG easy. No replays. Well played to Lucas.